You knew it was going to happen, but the time is here. WWE is returning to Saudi Arabia, this time on November 2nd, for an event called Crown Jewel. Rocha and I, we're going to talk about it.
ProWrestlingSheet.com.
So this was all part of a 10-year deal. You knew it's not like it was any secret they were going to be going back sometime soon, but I got to admit, you know, after the last event was so poorly received in terms of some of the stuff that happened during the show and surrounding the show, and even stuff that happened after the show where they had to apologize for a woman being shown on screen, all these things that surrounded it. I thought maybe it was going to be a little bit longer before they went back. I had seen the rumors that they were going back in November, so it was on the radar. I knew it was coming, but you know, last time I really reserved my feelings on everything because I wanted to see how it all played out.
Sure, of course.
You know, I didn't want to,
as a rational human being would do.
Yes, when they made the announcement, it didn't seem like the best. Business-wise, obviously, it's the best decision. They make like, I think it was like $40 million from this. That's what it's estimated to be. So I get it. I get that they're making they made a ton of money off of this deal. But for me, and you know, I get that the women thing was kind of the most focused thing on last time. You know, I think that everyone was really unhappy that women weren't allowed at the show. That Sami Zayn wasn't able to be at the show. Those things really made people unhappy. I know Lita did an interview where she said that it was like a direct conflict of interest for everything that they have going on with the women's evolution, whatever you want to call it. And for me, you know, I agree with all those things. All those things made perfect sense to me. But when I watched the show, there was another part that really just didn't sit well with me.
Oh, interesting.
And that was the commercial they aired for Saudi Arabia. Where they talked about how great Saudi Arabia is. And we know that it's not great in Saudi Arabia. That efforts are being made to westernize it a little bit, to bring entertainment there, to you know, women are driving and stuff like that. But for the most part, really bad things are still happening there. I mean, there's a really big international news story going on right now where there's a woman who was peacefully protesting and she's in jail and they're seeking the death penalty for her. They want to behead her. They want to behead this woman for peacefully protesting. So the commercials that I saw, or the commercials they did for Saudi Arabia and the Saudi General Sports Authority just really bothered me. You know, it was like, you know, go out there, do your show, and you want to say that you're hopefully doing this to create change. But when you're putting these commercials there for how great Saudi Arabia is, I feel like you're not there for change. It's just clear that you're taking money for propaganda.
And I think that's a great point you bring up. And the thing is, it does kind of fly in the face of what Triple H's statement was when they first announced they were going to Saudi Arabia, kind of explaining they wanted to go in there, like you said, make some change, show them that there's differences, show them things can happen, you know. But they didn't bring any women over, and the women responded in a positive way. Becky Lynch saying next time, showing that picture of her working out on social media. But now, it's next time, and they're still not bringing any women over. Like you said, it's a politically charged situation, and now you have this situation with that woman who's there in jail, which is a terrible thing to read about. And also this, now you have, in essence, propaganda. What is that all about? And that, to me, it sits wrong with me too, Ryan, because it's like you're trying to make the fans okay with you going after that dollar. And that is not cool. That is not cool in any way, shape, or form. And I get it. I know it's professional wrestling, and they do it in bars. They do it in field houses. They do it in high school gymnasiums. But there's still an essence of morality that you have to have, I think, at some point, and you have to kind of address that in this situation. And I think leaning so far into showing in what is in essence a tourism commercial for Saudi Arabia to support you making the decision to go back there because you want that money really is a bothersome thing overall.
And I think
I wonder if wrestlers can protest going.
Well,
more than just Sami.
I'm sure they can, and I'm sure they would be allowed to stay back. I'm sure it wouldn't be looked at greatly from their employer. But yeah, like you said, a lot of those things I completely agree with you right there. And I feel like the change thing, like, you know,
how are you going to change if you're not bringing anybody over?
Well, not only so much that, but it's like...
And we know Renee Young's not going to do the commentary.
No, there's no way. There's no way. And I did reach out to comment for WWE to clarify just because I'm wondering if something... Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but they did make this big deal about the historic nature of Renee joining the announced team. Right. So I am interested to see how they address that. The one thing that bothers, not the one thing, there's a lot of things that bother me, but there's a thing, that you said there, it's, the bars, the wrestling taking place in bars and all these, small venues. And so that's why people kind of are like, oh, whatever, it's wrestling. But WWE positions themselves differently.
Yes.
WWE goes out there and they talk. If WWE wasn't going out there and talking about all they do for the community, all they do for change, you know, how much of humanitarians they are.
Connor's Cure and all that.
All that stuff. If they weren't out there touting all those things and trying to be that, then I think that it would get, you know, dismissed a little more. I don't think I would have such an issue with it. You know, for example, let's say like someone like Impact was doing that. I don't think I would have as much of an issue because I don't think they position themselves as this great humanitarian company. They position themselves as a wrestling company.
The leading brand.
Yes.
Right. The one that everyone else should be following as an example, or at least look to as an example. Not necessarily follow, but certainly look to as an example. And they should have the clout to throw around and say, no, we're going to bring female wrestlers. We're going to do this or that. Yes, I understand culture and sovereignty and all of that, but also you've got to also make if you're going to say you're going to make change, you got to actually make an effort to make change. You can't just chase that money in a 10-year contract, then 10 years down the road, you bring your first female match. That isn't going to work. We're not in a society that's like 10 years later, all right, great, you did it. It's a society that's moving quick. And if you're not jumping on top of it, making change, look how fast the women's evolution happened over the last 7 years. That was incredible how fast it happened. And you got to make this announcement when you've got a women's evolution pay-per-view about to happen. It's bad optics.
It's a few days, but
it's a few days
Evolution
before.
is going to take place now a few days before Crown Jewel.
Right, and having Lesnar come back was a cash grab by Lesnar, which is even more insulting. He's going to Saudi Arabia to get paid and have nothing to do with this crap at all. And you know he's not going to win that title. It's going to be a triple threat match. It also looks bad too. And there's also, and look, if we pull back in the bigger picture, Ryan, real quick, we have 3 pay-per-views slamming, or 3 shows slamming into each other. The Australian show, the Evolution show, and now this show. So how much, you're overwhelming the fans. The fans already have a crap ton of content on the network. Now you're throwing them all this extra stuff. I think they're just like desperately grabbing for this money, and I don't understand it. Take your time.
Well, it also feels, you know, like they're, and it's a shitty thing to say, but it does feel like when I see this looking at, you know, from the outside looking at it, seems like they're like, okay, here's your little women's show.
Right.
Now the boys are going to go Saudi Arabia and make some money. And it's like, and that bothers me a little bit. Like, it's like, if you're going to talk about how you're doing all this stuff for women's wrestling, then maybe turn down this giant payday, you know? Like, you know, it doesn't appear to me like they're going out there to try to promote change. It seems like they're going out there to get money. I mean, even at the Emmy event that they did out here that I went to, you know, they were talking about Abu Dhabi and how Sasha and Alexa went out there and how they were chanting like this is change or something along those lines. But they casually don't mention that they're also doing this other show where women aren't allowed. And that I understand from a PR standpoint that it wouldn't make sense to say that at the Emmy show, but I just think that it's like you can't have your cake and eat it too. I feel like you really, you know, you have to pick a side here, and that's just my opinion on
At some point, you have to stop spinning.
All right, well, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments. Tell us what you think about WWE continuing their efforts in Saudi Arabia. Which side of the fence are you on? I want to hear from you. Also, hit us up on social media. It's at Wrestling Sheet on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Also, while you're here, please subscribe to the channel. It's super simple. Click that little button. It keeps the lights on here. It keeps us in business. Please do that. We're putting out multiple shows, videos. I'm trying my best to up the ante on there, so please help me out and subscribe. Also, check out all the videos on Collider. It's Collider videos on here. There's Collider Quick Hits, Collider Sports that Rocha's been working real hard on. There's Collider Games that the guys here are slaving away on. So really, go check out all the stuff, all the content that is available. All right, that's it. Until next time, stay out of the dirt and keep your eye on the sheet.
ProWrestlingSheet.com